sitting on all sides of her, laughing and enjoying their meal. She quietly nibbled on the 3 carrots that she was allowing herself for lunch. Her stomach was turning because of the smells that were mixing together. Secretly, she was jealous because they are able to sit and eat so easily. Joan is part of the 10 to 15% of Americans that suffers from an eating disorder. Many people see eating disorders as a means of weight loss alone and have no idea that it is a disease that involves so much more. It is important that we have an understanding of this issue because it's becoming a growing problem in our society. We should be aware of the harmfulness that comes from eating disorders and the things that our society does to fuel this. It is important that we identify what an eating disorder is, who is primarily affected by it, and the role that the media plays on these disorders. There are several types of eating disorders that are prominent in our society. The ones that we will primarily focus on are anorexia nervosa and bulimia nervosa. Anorexia is a disorder that focuses primarily on restricting what is eaten. It starts as a form of dieting and then spirals into more of an issue of control. The eating patterns are so restrictive that they are right at the edge of starvation. The cycle of restricting food becomes an obsession and also an addiction to the feeling of emptiness. Bulimia is a disorder that is identified by a person who binges on excessive amounts of food and then gets rid of it in unhealthy ways as a means of controlling weight. People who are bulimic will induce vomiting, abuse laxatives or other diuretics, and exercise excessively. As seen in anorexia, this cycle of binging and purging often becomes an addiction. The weight loss that comes with bulimia is not as severe as that which is seen in anorexia. Anorexia and bulimia are the disorders that are the most prevalent in our society. 1 in every 200 American women will suffer from anorexia. 2 to 3 in every 100 American women will suffer from bulimia. Almost half of all Americans personally know someone who is or has suffered from an eating disorder. Anorexia and bulimia are psychological disorders. These conditions can be so severe that they impair the functioning of life. Eating disorders have the highest mortality rate of any mental disease. People who suffer from eating disorders may die early from heart issues and often end up committing suicide. Only 30 to 40% of people who suffer from eating disorders ever fully recover. One of my best friends has suffered from an eating disorder for many years. It started for her because she was very involved in dance and her instructors always emphasized the importance of being thin. One year after the girls returned from summer break, the instructor looked at them and asked them if they had just been eating cake and cookies the entire break because they were fat. It was at this point that my friend began to really look at herself and started to try to lose weight. She started to starve herself and started to work out excessively. She looked at herself in the mirror and had a completely distorted image of who she was. She is on the road to recovery now, but there was a point when it looked like she would become a part of the statistics for those who have lost their lives to anorexia. Eating disorders can affect different groups of people and affect people in all age groups. It is impossible to predict who will be affected by an eating disorder and who will not. There isn't any population that is entirely safe. Eating disorders are primarily seen in women, although there are many men who suffer from eating disorders as well. About 95% of the people who suffer from anorexia are women. A person usually starts to present signs of being anorexic in adolescence. Anorexia also affects children who are younger and adults as well. Eating disorders as a whole are very prevalent during adolescence. It is during this time that many of the signs begin to occur. 80% of 13-year-olds have attempted to lose weight, and 50% of girls that are between the ages of 11 and 13 view themselves as being overweight. My nieces are in this age range and have started to show signs that they may themselves suffer from eating disorders at some point in their lifetime. They are twins and have become very dissatisfied with the way that they look. they have stopped eating for the most part because they are trying to be thin. When one started to lose weight, she received a lot of praise from friends and her family about how thin she was getting, and then the other one started to do the same. They were trying to fit into the image that society has portrayed is what one needs to be. They wanted to fit in and look similar to their classmates, and this is a cause for eating disorders in adolescence. Eating disorders can also affect all groups within the population. Even though the majority of girls who suffer from eating disorders are white, it has been shown that other populations within society are affected as well. The media can be held responsible for a lot of the causes of eating disorders. Eating disorders come from this ideal and the need to be thin. As a society, we are driven by the desire to look like the people that we see on television. We are constantly bombarded with new diets, new exercise machines, and new diet pills. We live in a society that is obsessed with the way we look. The constant exposure to this image serves as a catalyst for eating disorders. How is it possible for us to tell girls that they should start eating when they see celebrities who are praised for losing weight and are ridiculed if they seem to have gained even an ounce? Many girls who suffer from eating disorders use these images that we see on television as a sort of inspiration. In online communities that are supporting of eating disorders, they call these images thinspiration. This thinspiration is used to keep girls motivated on their journey to becoming thin. Many girls who suffer from eating disorders are only content when they see all of their bones showing. To them, looking emaciated is the true definition of beauty. Eating disorders are a growing problem in our society. Every year, about 2,561 people die from some form of an eating disorder. This number is growing. Many people aren't informed about this disorder and simply view it as a way of losing weight. Because of this, many people who suffer from this disease go unnoticed. It is important that we recognize the harmfulness of this disease and also the harmfulness that comes from the media as well. They're praised for losing weight and are ridiculed if they seem to have gained even a pound. Many girls who suffer from eating disorders use the images that they see on television as a sort of inspiration. In the online communities that are supporting of eating disorders, they call these images thinspiration. This thinspiration is used to keep girls motivated on their journey to becoming thin. Many girls who suffer from eating disorders are only content when they see that all their bones are protruding. To them, looking emaciated is the true definition of beauty. Eating disorders are a growing problem in our society. Every year, about 2,561 people die from some form of an eating disorder. This number is growing. Many people aren't informed about this disorder and simply view it as a way of losing weight. Because of this, many people who suffer from this disease go unnoticed. It is important that we recognize the harmfulness of this disease and also the harmfulness that comes from the media as well.